Okay, we had the new parts come through from the factory. We'll get them on the car ahead of FP1.
What's going on, guys? My name's Luke22SV and welcome back to the 7th round of the Mick Schumacher career mode here for the Canadian Grand Prix. And as you can hear there, we've got some good upgrades to the car, including engine upgrades and aerodynamic upgrades, leaving us just right behind McLaren now as we head into Canada. Renault getting some upgrades as well, along with Force India and ourselves Sauber. Williams slowly closing that gap as well to the rest of the midfield, but they're still a long way back, and we're looking in pretty good shape going into Canada, hoping for a better weekend. Although I've said that a lot of times now, we're hoping for a better weekend than the last one. It's just not been going our way this season, and it started off badly as well going into practice, doing a fuel saving test, going into the final corner, Champions Wall, 8th gear. It was a horrible incident to have. It was another one of those awful incidents, but that's what practice is for, and we're heading to qualifying now. But you know what they say, the Champions Wall is the Champions Wall for a reason, and a lot of champions have hit that wall. So ourselves, Mick Schumacher, his father even hit that wall himself in 1999. So who knows? We're moving to qualifying now to see how we do in qualifying, hoping to have a good lap here, hoping to find ourselves up the grid. We've got a better car now than we have in recent races with these upgrades, and we're looking in good shape here as well. Currently P9, so behind Hulkenberg, ahead of Kevin Magnussen. Not really expecting to be in the top 10 at this stage, but we're going to try and go for a better lap. Currently a bit down on our lap time previously, but heading up in towards Sector 2 now. One of my favourite tracks on the calendar, this one. So DRS is open, and still down on our lap time, but we did have a poor Sector 3 on the last lap. So we're hoping to improve. It'll allow us a bit of a corner cut there, but didn't come up as track limits or anything, so you just got to make the most of the track limits on here and hope to make most of them and get an advantage. And we're up on our last lap time, so it's looking quite good at this stage as we head towards the back straight. DRS wide open. These engine upgrades should really be helping us down here, which is why I've tried my best to get the engine upgrades going into this race, getting it nice and corner cutty into the last corner as well. And we're going to cross the line here as well, and that is going to be P5 ahead of Sebastian Vettel at this stage. So we move on to the engine qualifying, and Hamilton is on pole from Vettel, Bottas, Raikkonen, Verstappen, and we're ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. We've managed to get ahead of one of the cars in the top 6. Our teammate Charles Leclerc is up in 13th as well, so a good Sauber looking good around here, but did not expect to be anywhere near the top 6, let alone inside the top 6 with the main top 3 teams. But we managed to put our car out of position and 6th on the grid. So let's head on to Canada now for the race.
We're back once again beside the St. Lawrence River here in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix. The event first moved to a variant of this track back in 1978. It was won by none other than Gilles Villeneuve, the first Canadian to ever win his home race, and in whose honour the circuit would be renamed. We're almost ready to go there.
So let's move on to the grid then for the Canadian Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton on pole for Mercedes, doing very well this season in qualifying and the race, with Vettel alongside him. Bottas row 2 alongside Raikkonen, so it's a Mercedes and Ferrari, Mercedes Ferrari. Verstappen, ourselves P6. Ricardo, Perez, Force India looking quite good there as Ocon P9. Renault on row 6, a bit far behind this time. Both the McLarens are down there as well, and Toro Rosso's. Sergei Sorokin and Grosjean for some reason quite far down the order today. But we'll move now on to the race. What can we do from P6? We now move on to the red lights as we now find ourselves on 5 lights. There's lights out and away we go in Canada. P6 on the grid. Daniel Ricciardo gets a good start beside us. He moves ahead. We're down to P7 at this stage, but we hang it around the outside. We go down the inside of Max Verstappen, forcing ourselves through. Saw a gap that was there and we stick through it, and we up into P5 at this stage after lap 1, with just the 2 biggest teams on the grid in front of us as Raikkonen and Bottas have a little battle there, and we look to take advantage now with Raikkonen ahead of us, going down the inside on Kimi Raikkonen, and we're up into P4, and we take P4 away from Kimi Raikkonen, who we would believe that we'd be making up positions on lap 1, and it's P4 for Mick Schumacher here in the Canadian Grand Prix. Who would believe it? And I believe Michael Schumacher does have a great record around Canada as well, so that just says it all about ourselves around here. as we now come along to the hairpin, up towards the Champions Wall chicane. Up in P4, we've gained 2 positions and there's yellow flags behind us. I'm not sure what that is for, but I just believe it's probably the same reason there was yellow flags at the lowest hairpin in Monaco in the last race. But now Raikkonen looking to make a move on us, looking to get back into P4. He doesn't want to be stuck behind us Albert all race, but we managed to hold our own into this chicane. Lewis Hamilton leading after lap 1, but now we're going to look and have a look at the replay of the start and what happens here. As you can see, Hamilton on pole, Vettel alongside him, Bottas on row 2 behind him as well. One of the Renaults out looking to have a good start there, looks like Hulkenberg. But going into turn 1, side by side with Daniel Ricciardo, hanging it around the outside, spotting a gap on Verstappen. He almost closed the door on us there. A risky move, but we made it stick. And we're up into P5 here with Verstappen looking to get back past us going into turn 3. But we're ahead of him at this stage. And 2 Mercedes there, the Mercedes and Ferrari there of Bottas and Raikkonen. We go down the inside of Raikkonen, spot the opportunity, take the opportunity, and well, a little bit of contact there as well. Maybe a bit unfair from us to do that to Raikkonen, but nothing was pulled up on it, and we're happy in P4 as Verstappen and Raikkonen look to go a bit side by side there as well. But now moving towards the end of the lap, we've got Raikkonen behind us, and he'll be looking to get the slipstream on us going into the final corner. He'll be looking to get the slipstream and get back into P4 because he does not want to be behind the Alfa Romeo Sauber of ourselves. And well, the Red Bulls are actually quite far back, and in fact Ricciardo's battling with the Force Indias at this stage. Raikkonen looks to the inside, and in the end we have to close the door on him, and Raikkonen stays in P5. And as you can see, Ricciardo battling there with Perez knock on. But as we cross the line for lap 2, we're in P4, gaining 2 positions from the start. And now we're just looking to see what we can do from here. We're not really going to be looking to go forward because we've got the 2 Mercedes and the Ferrari of Vettel in front of us. So it would be absurd to think that we can be able to challenge them. But we're going to do our best anyway. Who knows? Maybe they'll get into a bit of a problem like we saw in lap 1. Like the cars often, when they have battles, it slows each other down and you can use that to get yourself closer. But at the moment it looks like everyone else in front of us is sort of getting too far away. We're having to look behind us now already because Raikkonen and Verstappen all over us already at this stage. As we go a bit wide there, and Raikkonen now looks to make an opportunity, and he gets in front of us. Raikkonen is looking happy about that, and now riding on board with Verstappen going into the hairpin. We go back down the inside of Raikkonen, and now we're side by side going onto the back straight. Raikkonen gets ahead of us. Verstappen now looking for an opportunity, but now ourselves we get slipstream on Raikkonen, could pull to the outside. Now we're going back ahead of Raikkonen. Verstappen looking for an opportunity again. He's looking to make a move. Doesn't make a move in the end. We can make contact with Raikkonen going into the last corner. We're now ahead of Raikkonen. Verstappen's now alongside as well. Ricciardo there is behind Force India still. But Raikkonen going through the outside of us into turn 1. Looks to make a move. Stick going into turn 2. We try and keep it. Go out of shape. Verstappen now gets alongside. And Verstappen and Raikkonen now both get through at the same time. Verstappen ahead of Raikkonen. So Verstappen getting 2 birds with 1 stone there, making a double overtake, and he's up to P4. We're back down to P6, our starting position, and to be honest, that is as good as we can expect. We've got a good start. We got ahead of Raikkonen, we got ahead of Verstappen, but really we weren't expecting to keep ahead of him. So now we just got to look to keep Ricciardo behind us for the rest of the race. But if he can get away from the Force Indias, you'd expect him to get towards us. Now moving on to lap 6, as you can see, Verstappen and Raikkonen have pulled away a little bit. We've got Daniel Ricciardo closing in on us, and now there's a car that's just come out of the race as well, a little bit behind us. Yellow flags, 19 cars now left in the race, and it's going to be Pierre Gasly that's out of the race, as you can see on the screen there. We'll find out what's happened to him in a second, but we are boxing this lap as well. But here is Pierre Gasly, riding on board with Pierre Gasly. He's ahead of both the McLarens at this stage, coming towards the hairpin, and his engine just goes on him. Disaster for Pierre Gasly, but he's now out of the race, and good news for us as well because we're in a battle with Toro Rosso for the constructors as Gasly pulls off there. The lead Toro Rosso driver at that stage as well. So here we are in the pits, coming now to make our stop from the hyper softs to the ultra softs, as we have the pit lane to ourselves as well, which is what we enjoy around on these career modes so far. Don't get any congestion in the pit lane. We're in P19 out of P19 behind Romain Grosjean as we rejoin in 19th place, hoping to make a little bit of an undercut on Ricciardo and hopefully getting away from him as well. maybe get an undercut on Raikkonen, because these hyper soft tyres, the undercut around here is actually really good. So if you can get the undercut and get those new tyres on, then it really works. Now moving on to next lap, we got Romain Grosjean and Lance Stroll, I believe, in front of us. Now we've got the fresher tyres and we've closed in dramatically as we get past Romain Grosjean there, and now we're on to behind the Williams, which looks like Sergei Sorokin actually. So now we got DRS on Sergei Sorokin. We should be able to get an easy move here up towards the end of lap 8. With cars still pitting as well, we've got Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Verstappen. They should all be pitting relatively soon. So we go to the inside to make the move as he pits anyway. But now, can we keep ahead of Ricciardo? That's the question. So we come towards the back end to start the new lap. You can see who is exiting pits there. Come around to turn 1 to turn 2. And that is Kimi Raikkonen ahead of us. So we've almost got an undercut on Raikkonen. We've actually been performing really well. Maybe if we made better work and have traffic, we might have been able to get ahead of Raikkonen again. But we're now behind Kimi Raikkonen on these ultra soft tyres, and we're in good position again to keep ahead of Daniel Ricciardo and stay in P6 at least at this stage. We're looking really rosy at this stage with Raikkonen ahead of us. We're looking to close in on Raikkonen, see if we can make a chance. And moving on to the next lap behind Kimi Raikkonen. Well, actually this is the same lap, but behind Raikkonen. P5 ahead of Verstappen as well. So we've got the undercut working on Verstappen. Verstappen's had an awful time in the pit lane. He's found himself in P6 behind us again. So the Red Bull's struggling around here on a power circuit. So the Ferraris and Mercedes looking good. And of course, we've got a Ferrari engine that's had a few upgrades as well. So that's obviously going to do us good ourselves. Charles Leclerc, I don't know where he is at this stage. He's down in the midfield, so he's not doing necessarily too bad of a job. The Sauber's not really, it's still the 8th best car on the grid. So if he's 13th or 14th, that's not really too bad. But we're really actually close to Raikkonen at this stage. We're not falling back. We're actually in DRS zone, but I think we have a DRS problem as well at this stage. So it doesn't allow us to make a move on Raikkonen, because if we had DRS, we'd be able to make a move on Raikkonen. But P5 at the moment, 10 points. That would really do us solid in this Constructors' Championship as well as Drivers' Championship. At lap 10, we are now behind Raikkonen. No DRS open. So we're not able to get close enough to Raikkonen to make a move, and it's just agonising to see him pull away. We tagged the wall there. Now we get into a little bit of a spin on the curb, and we're in a spin, and that's a complete disaster for us. So we try and get the car turned around. We've already seen 2 Red Bulls go away. Now a Force India's gone as well. Perez has gone past us. So we lost positions again. A complete disaster for ourselves. Just not having a clean race at the moment. Down into P9 behind Esteban Ocon. Can we get back past Ocon? But here it is again with Raikkonen in front of us. Just get on the curbs, get loose, and now we're in a spin. We just couldn't keep the car pointing straight then, and we just had to go into a spin, get back and point in the right direction now. There's already damage has been done. But at least the only good thing is we didn't lose any of our front wing, didn't end our race, but we're still in the points, still doing really well. But it could have been so much better at this stage. We're absolutely gutted. Now can we get back past Esteban Ocon up into P7 or P8 I should say. P9 at this stage with Kevin Magnussen now looking to take advantage of this. Someone we've had so many battles with so far this season. Not close enough to make a move at this stage, and that is good enough for us. We're trying to get back past Ocon, but Kevin Magnussen now behind us in a little three-way battle for P8 as it's currently the Mercedes at the front with Ferrari as well and Red Bull. So it's basically 4 teams in the top 8, and Force India clearly 4th best around here. So we've done extremely well, but it was just gutting that we ended up falling back after that spin. So we're now coming round to the Sector 2 part of this track with Kevin Magnussen looking to make a move on us, and we're still trying to recover from our spin the lap before around this section, so we're a bit cautious going into here. But Kevin Magnussen doesn't manage to make it past, and that is keeping us in front of him. But he's now looking to make another move again into the hairpin. He looks to make it down the inside, gets ahead of us into the hairpin. A good move from Kevin Magnussen, but what can we do from behind him? We're carrying it around the outside. We still haven't got DRS. He will have DRS assistance, I think. Yes, he does. He does have DRS assistance, but we managed to get alongside him, going up towards the Champions Wall chicane on the outside. Who's going to be the braver one here? we are the braver one. We managed to get ahead of him, and that is going to keep us in P9. And we managed to pull away now from Kevin Magnussen. He's completely fallen back after that, going into the last corner. So we are pretty good now. But can we get after Esteban Ocon now? That's the question. But moving on to the last lap, we're not close enough to Esteban Ocon. Just agonisingly not getting close enough to make a move. Keeping in P9. Again, it looks like Magnussen's fallen back after that as well. Hulkenberg now looking in P10. We're still trying to chase Ocon. If we can get into DRS zone in the last lap, that would be tremendous. We might give ourselves an opportunity to get an overtake on him. But again, getting on the curb, almost getting into a spin again. So just really erratic driving at the moment from ourselves. We really need to iron that out if we want to get ourselves into a Ferrari seat or a Mercedes seat in the near future. So coming round now, these last few corners, it's going to be P9 at this stage. So it's still looking, still a couple points of us for us. We'll outrace our teammate, getting ourselves into the points. Hamilton winning again, so he's really dominating the season so far. And it's just going to be P9 for us at this stage, Ocon. So it's going to be Mercedes winning from the front, Ferrari P3 and P4, Red Bull P5 and P6, Force India P7 and P8. So it really is a class of 4 teams around here, and ourselves finishing P9. And that's going to be the end of the race there. P9 for Sauber. Well, it could have been so much better. It could have been P6. Could have been P6 at least. But that's going to be the end of the race. And almost the end of the episode here as well. With the... now we're going to have a look at what the standings are before we end the episode. We could have been so much better. As Mercedes win again. Something we're used to seeing this season so far. So we're third of the way through the season now. Hamilton walking away with a title. Vettel finishing third. Bottas getting a good result after a disappointing result last time out. After colliding with me in Monaco. But looking at the end of the race then, as you can see, it was Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, Force India, Sauber, and then Renault in the top 10. Our teammate finished 12th, so we were ahead of him. That's where the Sauber really should be, to be honest, around that area. So looking towards the driver's standings, it's Raikkonen is 52 points behind Hamilton, so he's really fallen back. But that's going to be the end of the episode there. We're up to P14. We're doing well with P7 in the standings, but that's the end of the episode there. I'll be back in a week's time with the next episode of the Mick Schumacher career mode. I'm going to take a week away, so thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you guys soon. There may be a few videos uploaded in the meantime as well, but thank you everyone, and I'll see you soon.